Good evening. I'm Danielle Stern with Bhav Brigade, and this is our first Wednesday evening online yoga class. I might spend just a little bit more time making announcements since this is my first online class, and there might be some folks that are new to Bhav Brigade. However, if you are looking forward to just getting into your practice, you can skip forward until you see me close my eyes and start leading us through the breath. Otherwise, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I am so grateful to be a part of Bhav Brigade, that's B-H-A-V, B-R-I-G-A-D-E, which is a pop-up platform community that we are just about to celebrate 5 years of this yoga community here in Hampton Roads. So we hope that everybody is safe and taking care of themselves. I know that everyone's taking care of each other, but it is important to think about self-care. So a couple of announcements. All of our classes that would have been in a physical space, whether at libraries, in parks, breweries, wineries, all of the great spaces that we're so grateful that public and private organizations and companies open up to us to teach our classes. Those are all canceled at least through April, maybe beyond. So we are trying to offer some accessible, affordable online donation classes as well. So our individual teachers are posting as they choose, either Facebook Live links or YouTube links. Some are sharing links to Zoom calls. So you can find all of this information on our Facebook page. We're working soon to see if we can get that updated on our webpage too at bhavbrigade.org. But we are going to be sharing links on Facebook if you look us up on Bhav Brigade. So let's go ahead, if you're not already, find a comfortable seat. I'm not quite sure how the audio sounds. I'll look into fixing that as needed for future classes, but we're rolling with it. We miss practicing with you all, so let's go ahead and find a seat. I have with me a couple of blocks. They're completely optional. If you have blocks at home, since we are practicing from our homes, or someone else's home, so an indoor space where you might have props, you can either grab blocks or a flat top covered water bottle, something that has like a flat, steady top that you might want to use as a block option. I'm sitting on a blanket, a towel or a pillow, blanket, something that might help you lift the hips up a little bit. And I'm going to lead us through what are typically referred to as Pranayama, some breathing practices. Nothing fancy. I'm just going to try and ease us into kind of a balancing breath in the interest of a balancing class. Anything that I offer today is a suggestion, whether that be with the breath or movement or the combinations thereof. Move at a pace that works for you. Pause as needed, either in your body or on the video to come back to at a time that works best for you. We'll keep these things accessible and available to you. All right, so I'm going to close my eyes, bring my palms to my lap. So I invite you to feel rooted through the hips, either on a blanket, a towel, or on your mat. Bring the shoulders up towards the ears, around, back and down. Let the ears be soft. Let the jaw be soft. And just arrive in the space. Notice the thoughts. Notice any external noise. You'll have that on your end, and due to the sounds of the street here where I'm at, you might hear some things coming in through the window. At some point, you might hear my dog. And yes, I know some of you know that I have 2 dogs. Our very rambunctious dog is at daycare, which is why I'm filming this video now. And my good dog is resting quietly, but who knows? You may wander in and out. So as your thoughts maybe wander in and out, can you bring the thought back to this moment? Bring the breath back to this moment. Let the elbows fall naturally underneath the shoulders. Shoulders on top of hips. And notice what's happening with the chin and the forehead. Can you relax any tension? Deep breath in. And a long breath out. Inhale through the nose as the belly expands. The rib cage softly flares out. Top of chest rises. And then exhale through the nose, the chest drops. Ribs pull in. The belly pulls in softly toward the spine. So continue that rhythmic movement, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And I'll guide us through 1 or 2 rounds of counting a matching number of inhales and exhales. But of course, go at a pace that works for you. So if I might call a 4 count, and you're more comfortable with a 3-3, a 5-5, or a 6-6, go with what works for you. Exhale all the stale air out. Just let it go. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continuing a few more rounds at your pace. One more complete round. If your eyes are fluttered open, maybe softly close them again or gaze softly down at the tip of the nose. On your next inhale, breathing naturally, bring the palms to your heart space. You can either stack them or bring them together in a prayer mudra, totally up to you. You switch the direction of the cross of the legs if you had crisscross applesauce at the shins. If it's in your practice to set an intention, either for yourself, for someone else, I invite you to bring that intention to mind. I'm going to dedicate my practice to those who are feeling unsettled, disrupted, kind of fearing the unknown, which is probably all of us right now. So in our balancing flow of movement and breath and intention during this practice, anytime your mind wanders or the breath gets away from you, give yourself compassion. Remind yourself that you are part of this group that needs some compassion and loving kindness to feel and deserve a little bit more settled, a little bit more grounded and balanced, which is something that yoga can bring to you. We'll seal this intention with a round of an optional Om, or you can always just listen to the vibration or take a deep open mouth exhale. I'll guide us through one of those first before Om. Exhale all the stale air out again. Inhale. Inhale for Om. Inhale, flutter the eyes open as you reach the arms up overhead. The shoulders come away from the ears. Root through the hips. On your next exhale, twist it out to the right. Bringing the left arm behind you. The left arm comes across the body. Then feel what's happening with your right hip. The right hip's trying to come back. Push the right hip slightly forward. You can gaze toward your right shoulder, or to mix it up a little bit, maybe you gaze toward the left shoulder. Whatever feels best for you. Not go into your full range of motion. And then inhale back through neutral. Exhale, twist it out to the other side. Be careful not to collapse into that back palm. Again, if you try something different with the direction of your neck, maybe try it again on this side. And the shoulders release from the ears. Inhale back to neutral, arms reach up. Exhale, reach the arms out in front of you. Roll over to hands and knees. This is where if you have any props underneath you, you're welcome to keep them there. If, like me, you've been practicing indoors on a hardwood floor and you want some extra padding on your knees, I'm going to keep my blanket underneath my knees. Come into tabletop, so the hips stack on top of the knees, palms underneath the shoulders, and then really start to look forward and slightly down. So the neck is long. Pull the lower ribs in, kind of puff out through the lower spine. Just kind of pressing into the palms, feeling the shoulders come away from the ears though, if they try and kind of creep up that way. And if it's in your practice to go ahead and begin some cat-cows, you can on your inhale look up, the belly dips slightly. Exhale, beginning from the tailbone around, eventually pulling the chin in toward the chest. Really pressing in through the finger pads. Fingers are spread nice and wide, so continuing to lift on your inhales. And then round, you begin at the tailbone on your exhales. Notice that you're not cupping in the palms. So continue this for a few more breaths. I'm just going to pause for a moment and kind of walk you through it. In the sense of, as you're continuing lifting on the inhale, you'll press into the palms as you lift and also really plug into the finger pads as you round. So look to see that your fingers are spread wide, your thumbs are coming in just about halfway or so. Take another round or two. Deep breath, sigh it out on your next exhale. And then eventually, this is where you may want to move any props. Widen the knees. Bring the big toes toward each other. So widen the knees only as much as is comfortable for you. Maybe you like to keep some support for your belly. I like to have some space for my belly. And then slowly walk the palms forward. If you haven't already, hips draw back towards the heels, forehead toward the earth. So with your forehead to the earth, you can either bend at the elbows to create a forearm stack for your forehead, or you can keep the arms extended nice and long. So your child's pose can be a place of rest. Even though my cueing today is going to be slow and intentional, sometimes even moving slow can still build some heat and build some strength. So we want to make sure that we're moving at a pace that works for us and taking breaks as needed. So sometimes Balasana, this child's pose that you're in, can be a break, or a seated position. Take a couple more breaths here. I'm only keeping my head lifted so that you could hear me a little bit better than if my head was pressed down into the earth like yours might be. And as you are ready, reach the arms long in front of you if they're not already. Tuck the toes, slowly start to lift the hips. Bend the knees really deeply so that right now your belly, your torso, is stacked on top of your knees. Now depending on your arm and torso length, you may need to walk your feet closer or further back. Take a moment as you need to, but try and keep that deep bend so you have a shelf for your belly as you slowly just start to lift the legs, lift the hips, keep the bend. Feel that shelf that is your legs for your torso area, and then slowly start to release the heels toward the earth. Then kind of walk it out. This is our downward facing dog. Again, I'm looking toward you just to project my voice right now. Do my best to project from this position of Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So keep the knees bent as you really press in through the finger pads, just like in our cat-cow. Try and turn the armpits in slightly toward each other as you release the shoulders from the ears, and then keeping as much of a bend in the knee as feels good for you. Maybe you slowly start to straighten the legs. Maybe you've been bending one knee out at a time. And now find some stillness. Couple breaths in. And then a couple breaths out. As you inhale, look forward. As you slowly, at the bottom of your exhale, just start to walk the feet forward. You can walk the feet nice and wide if you like. I'm going to turn to face the camera for this moment, but you're going to be at the top of your mat. On an inhale, half lift. So I'll turn away for another moment. Palms can be at the shins. Maybe they come to the thighs. Maybe you find your blocks here. So you're in an upside down L. See your feet are about hip width apart. You're looking down and just slightly forward. Nice and long through the spine. Now fold. So since I have my blocks here, I'm going to release them to the lower height. You can bring your palms to blocks. Maybe bring them behind the ankles. Maybe you want to get a nice shoulder stretch. Keeping the knees bent as much as needed. Deep breath in. And a long breath out. Inhale, halfway lift, spine is long. Exhale, fold. On your inhale, press into the feet as you slowly start to roll up vertebra by vertebra. That is the last thing to rise. Reaching the fingertips down toward the earth. Look down at your feet. Nice hip width apart. If it's more comfortable for you to have your feet together, that's totally up to you. I like to have a little bit of space. I'm gonna step toward the top of my mat. So go ahead and come toward the top of your mat. Close your eyes if that feels good. And start to take a body scan from the heels all the way up to the crown of the head. Maybe bring the shoulders up towards the ears, around, back, and down a couple of times. Maybe bringing the shrugging the shoulders forward once or twice for good measure. Now find stillness. Gentle, ever so gentle bend in the knee. Coming back to your breath. Inhale, circle the arms out overhead, reach up. Maybe the palms touch, maybe a bit of a gentle back bend. Exhale, palms through the heart space, bend the knees, fold it forward. Half lift on an inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, palms at the heart space and alongside the body. This time, inhale, bring the palms to the heart space. Exhale, sigh it out. Inhale, reach the arms up through heart space. Gentle bend in the knee as you exhale, bring the arms out wide, fold it forward. Integrity in your heart space, fold it to the earth. Half lift on an inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, another half lift. And on your exhale, bring just your palms to your hip creases. Inhale, hinge up with a tall spine, gentle bend in the knees. Maybe you reach the arms up for your gentle back bend. Exhale, palms at the heart space, and then alongside the body. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, interlace the fingers behind the back as you fold it forward, bending the knees, bit of a shoulder stretch. Inhale, lowering the butt back, reaching the arms up, finding a modified chair. We're going to do this flow for a few breaths if that feels good for you. As you exhale, fold. Inhale, coming up and reaching the fingertips to the ceiling. Exhale, we interlace the fingers behind the back, bend the knees as much as needed, forward fold and shoulder stretch. Inhale, bending the knees, reaching the arms up, a modified chair. Exhale, fold. 2 more times. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, finding your forward fold with a shoulder stretch if that feels good. Inhale, chair. Last round. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming up, reaching the fingertips. Exhale, forward fold, shoulder stretch, bending the knees if needed. Inhale, now bend those knees, reach the arm and the heart up. Exhale, fold. This time, half lift on your inhale. Exhale, fold. Maybe interlace opposite elbows or interlace the fingers behind the neck. Whatever you do, close off the chain of this forward fold. Let the cares of the day just fall away. Let the neck be long. I do not anticipate talking into the depths of the sweater here that's trying to block my mouth. So thank you for your patience. Keep breathing. I will keep cueing and moving with you. As you inhale, come up in whatever way is best for your body. Exhale, palms at the heart space. Deep breath in. Exhale, Tadasana. All right, close the eyes or gaze softly down the nose. We've had just a little bit of standing movement, moving with our breath. So notice how you feel. Do another very brief body scan, particularly the sense of balance. Maybe you start to sway one direction a little bit, still pressing the feet into the earth, maybe shifting the weight one direction, back to neutral and then the other. Maybe forward, maybe back. Then after you are intentionally kind of shifting the weight around from side to side, see what it feels like. Really notice in your body, particularly if your eyes are closed, to notice your body finding its center. Maybe to the point that you don't even have to nudge it. We'll always come back to center. Feel that strength. Feel your balance. As you inhale, flutter the eyes open, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold it forward in whatever way is best for your body. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, palms press. Step your right foot back to your low lunge. If you have blocks, this would be a good time to bring them, or you can tent your fingertips, since I do have the blocks here. Benefit for my home practice. I'm going to bring my palms to the blocks. See if you can create some space between your left thigh and your torso, so you're not kind of dumping into your left hip socket. Hips are neutral. You're really pressing the ball of your right foot. That's where the blocks are nice and useful, because you can, I'm now on my fingertips with the blocks at the highest height. Got some nice length. Starting to feel it a bit in my left quad. If you have any blocks, go ahead and move them out of the way. Release the back knee. And if you haven't already, go ahead and lengthen through the back leg. This is where you may want to bring your blanket to have a blanket as a nice soft prop, some padding underneath your right knee. Now bring the palms to the left thigh. Try and lift out of the bend for a moment. Either choose to stay here, reach the arms up overhead. Maybe you bring the arms just a little bit wider, pinkies toward each other, create space between the shoulders. And maybe you start to rebend the left knee just a little bit. Again, not finding our edge, not finding our complete range of motion. Shoulders away from the ears. Breathing in, breathing out. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bring the palms down. Maybe you grab the blocks again as you bring the hips back in space. So the hips are going to come to stack kind of on top of the right knee. My legs are a little bit longer than my torso, kind of that ratio, so I have to kind of walk my left foot slightly forward. You may want to as well. You can either tent the fingertips, bring the palms to blocks. Feel the hips facing forward. Maybe bring the toes toward your body. Maybe you choose to point the toes forward. Just kind of notice what feels best for your body in the opening of the back left leg. trying to create this intention in the heart space, kind of leaning forward. And if it feels good, if you want to start to round into it, don't overdo it. Kind of lean down, dragging the hips back in space as you energetically kind of pushing the left heel forward. If you have any blocks underneath you, be mindful as you inhale, re-bend your left knee, move any blocks that you might have. Press the palms into the earth. Tuck your right toe, lift your right knee, look forward for length. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. I'm going to move my prop to kind of the middle that will be there for when my other knee comes down. So you may want to do that if you've got a prop there. Taking a breath in downward facing dog. Reach the right leg up behind you. Keep the toes pointing down. I've got a wall right behind me, so be mindful of what's behind you. So the hips are neutral, toes facing down. Exhale, round the spine. Bring the right knee out to the right, step it up outside the right palm, and then slowly wiggle the right foot in between. This is where if you've got blocks, it might be useful. So we're on the ball of the left foot for now. Creating some length, looking forward. Maybe even creating some space between the right thigh and the torso. I'm going to now come to my fingertips on top of the blocks. Really active through your back leg. Neck is long. And then I'll slowly release the back knee. Really, before you release, I always forget this cueing. Lengthen first on your left knee, and then release. I'm going to move the blocks. Bring the palms to the right thigh now. Kind of press out of the deep bend that you might have in the right knee. Either choose to stay here, or inhale, reach the arms up overhead, turn the pinkies toward each other. Breathing in, breathing out. You might notice that my left toes are tucked. That's a personal choice. Some folks like to have the toenails turned down, so it feels good for you. Releasing the shoulders from the ears. Inhale, sigh it out. Inhale, lengthen through the fingertips. Exhale, palms to the earth, either tent them or grab your blocks again. Draw the hips back in space. Maybe wiggle the right heel forward like you might have done on the other side with the left. Hips are neutral, trying to face forward. And then your hips are kind of stacked on top of the left knee this time. Create some space, some intention, integrity in the heart space. Trying to reach past your toes, just that kind of energetic line. And maybe you stay lifted. Maybe you start to fold it forward, trying to keep the hips nice and neutral. Notice what's happening on the back line of your right leg. Continuing to breathe. And then on your next inhale, slowly rebend through your right knee. Remove any props. Palms press around your right foot. Tuck the left toes, lift the back knee. Step back, downward facing dog. Now this is where you may want to go ahead and remove your blanket or a towel that you might have there. Optional, you can find child's pose or stay in down dog. Maybe you inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale here as you really press through the heels behind you. Maybe reposition if you need to. Let's take an inhale here. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog without moving our limbs. And by without moving our limbs, I mean without moving our palms or feet, just kind of keeping them there. So we're going to do that a couple of times. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Notice that you feel nice and strong. You have the right length that feels good for your body, where your feet placement and your hand placement are. On your next exhale, use the hips and the core, draw it back to down dog. One more time, inhale, shift forward to plank. Try and puff up through the shoulders a little bit, pull the lower belly in toward the spine. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, release the knees just behind the hips. As you inhale, shift forward. Exhale, releasing all the way to the earth. I only have my head lifted so I can speak well enough and loud enough for you to hear. But once you're laying here, let's take it nice and slow. Slide the palms down closer to the breastbone rather than directly under the shoulders. So the elbows are going to come toward each other. Press the toenails into the earth. Release any tension in the glutes. On your inhale, use the back of the ribs to lift up. You're still long in the spine, so you're looking down and slightly forward. Draw the elbows toward each other. Exhale, release the forehead to the earth. Nice and slow. Inhale, lift from the back of the ribs, press the toenails into the earth. Lengthening, draw the elbows toward each other. Exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, lift from the back body. Opening up through the heart space, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, slowly release. Tuck the toes. Lift up through tabletop or plank. So this would be a modified tabletop because the hips are behind the knees. And then lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here, or maybe you find child's pose. Whatever feels best for you. And notice if you're looking at me, my head is turned forward so that my voice can project. But you want to try and have the ears resting comfortably between the ears. When I turn my head down, I'll do that for a moment. But now I'm speaking into my sweater. I don't think you can hear me. So I'm going to, on an inhale, encourage us all to look forward to the top of our mats. Exhale, slowly walk the feet forward without locking the knees, but maybe just trying to straighten the legs a little bit. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming up in a way that feels best for you. Inhale, take a quarter of a turn, facing wide along with the mat, whichever direction is going to help you face the camera. Feet are parallel. Palms are at the hips. Bring the arms out to shoulder height. And then slowly on an exhale, turn the right toes forward. As you bend the right knee is stacking on top of the right ankle. You can either continue to gaze over the torso if that feels better for your neck, or you can look toward the right thumb. Try and soften through the back of the neck. Notice that you're pressing into the outer edge of your left foot. Right knee is stacked on top of the right ankle, if that feels good for you. If you need to not bend the front knee so much, that's all right. You want to try and make sure that right knee doesn't track in front of the toe. That's what we're trying to avoid. So, really press into the outer edge of your back foot. Pull the lower ribs in. And as you inhale, bring the hips back toward the left, lengthen the right leg, reach the right arm forward. Exhale, palm to the shin, or better yet, maybe you grab a block, left palm to the left hip. Draw the shoulders to stack, left on top of the right. Either choose to stay here, or maybe you reach the left fingertips up toward the sky. A line of energy from the tailbone down toward your left heel, and then from your heart space up toward your left fingertips. Choosing to look up, or you can look down, of course. Trying to keep a micro bend in the knees. Breathing in, breathing out. Look down if you're not already. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, rebend through the right knee, from the right elbow to the right thigh. And then reach the left fingertips up to the ceiling. Turn the palm down toward the left ear as you reach the left arm alongside the left ear, trying to collapse into the right shoulder. So for a moment, I'm going to kind of dump in there, trying to lift out of the right shoulder, strong through the right thigh. Maybe you look up toward your left arm. This time we're one long line of energy from the outer edge of the left foot up to the left fingertips. Trying to rotate the heart up towards the ceiling just a little bit. So this is not a back bend or heart opener in that sense of the word, but it is a nice side stretch. So we're just trying to make sure that we're getting that nice length through the side body rather than collapsing. Look down if you're not already. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, turn both feet in toward each other. Release the arms by the side body. And if you have a block that you used on one side, maybe you want to have it ready for you. So the feet are parallel. Arms roll up the side body just to relax for a moment. And now reach the arms out as you exhale. Turn the left toes toward the back of your mat. Bend through the left knee. Readjust your stance as needed. Not forgetting about the back arm and the strength there. Now you're really pressing into the outer edge of your right foot, gazing toward the left thumb or over the torso, whatever feels best for you. Maybe you bend a little bit more deeply into the left knee. Breathing in, breathing out. Inhale, exhale. One more inhale here. Side out. Inhale as you lengthen the left leg, bring the hips back towards the right. Reach, reach, reach the left fingertips forward. Either find your block or your left shin or thigh. Right palm to the right hip. Rotate the shoulders to stack right on top of left. Draw the tailbone toward your right heel. And then maybe on an inhale, reach the right fingertips up. Either choosing to look down, keeping a micro bend in the knee, or gazing up. Whatever feels good for you. And just like the extended side angle that we came into a moment ago, this is not intended to be a back bend, but can you get length in the side by slowly trying to rotate the chest up just a little bit towards the ceiling. So you keep that tailbone pulled back and down toward the right heel. Breathing in, breathing out. Look down if you're not already. Maybe move toward your right palm to your right hip so you can move that block out of the way if you have it. And then inhale, rise up as you rebend into your warrior two. Bend your left elbow, bring the left forearm to the left thigh. Reach the right arm up overhead, turn the palm down toward the left. Not collapsing into the left arm, choosing to look down, or maybe you gaze up inside your right arm. Long line of energy from the outer edge of your right foot to your right fingertips. Shining that heart up a little bit towards the ceiling. And I'm going to look down for the moment. You're welcome to do so as well, readjusting as needed. And then when you're ready, inhale, coming back up. Arms are in airplane mode. As you exhale, turn both feet in parallel. Fold it forward, hinging from the hips. Palms come underneath the shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, finding your choicest version of a forward fold. Maybe that means bringing the palms to outside the ankles. Maybe it's keeping the palms underneath the shoulders. Maybe it's turning the palms back and kind of walking them back. Wherever you are, shift the weight slightly forward. So sometimes, and even I was doing it just now, the butt wants to come kind of behind the back of the mat, that side edge of the mat, which is the back right now. Can you try and shift the hips so they stack a little bit more on top of the heels rather than the back of the mat? And trying to find that balance. Continuing to breathe. If your palms have wandered anywhere else, bring it back underneath the shoulders. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, palms at the hip creases, gentle bend in the knee. Inhale, hinge up. Exhale, step toward the front of your mat. Take a couple of breaths here. Maybe closing the eyes and do another brief body scan. Just as you've done a couple of times. Where is your breath? Where are your thoughts? Where is this moment? Deep breath in. Sigh it out. All right. You're going to stay at the front of your mat. I'm just going to turn toward the camera. Bring your feet to a nice hip width distance, maybe even a little bit wider. We're going to come into a tree pose. We are practicing a balancing posture after all. So start to either bring the palms to the heart space or to the hips and shift the weight into the left foot. Just kind of slowly shift the weight into the left. Bend the right knee. And then exhale, widen the right knee like a gate. Press the right heel into the left ankle, or maybe you bring it up to the shin, or higher if that's in your practice, just not directly into the knee. And then you could choose to stay there, or inhale, grow your branches. Really press the outer left hip in toward the midline as you zip up from the midline, up through the shoulders, but releasing the shoulders away from the ear. And of course, right, if you're not looking at a drishti, if you're looking at yourself in the camera, to students who can see you but you can't see them, hope that I am not messing up your balance. So find a drishti, focal point, and if you notice that your right hip is lifting up, maybe that's a cue to slide the foot further down the leg. Finding some balance. And as you are ready, palms and knee in toward the midline. Exhale, walk it out. Deep breath in. Sigh it out. All right, start to shift the hips. Start to shift the weight a little bit toward your right foot this time. Palms at the hips or palms at the heart space. Just notice how that feels. Plug into all four corners of the foot without trying to kind of clench through the toes. And then slowly lift the left knee. Exhale, open it wide like a gate. Press that left foot into the right leg, anywhere but the knee. Again, kind of press the right hip in toward midline. Zip up. And then maybe on an inhale, choose to grow your tree. Reposition your eyes toward your focal point, your drishti. Breathing in. Breathing out. And know that trees sway. It's always sometimes a challenge to find balance. Most of our lives are shifting online for work, for personal stuff, for yoga. So it's really even more challenging to find that balance between screen time and not screen time. So for this moment, gaze off to your drishti, look away from the screen. And then bring the palms on an inhale and the knee back in. Exhale, sigh it out, step it down. Inhale, close the eyes. Exhale, sigh it out. Go ahead and come back to your front of the mat if you've wandered from that. Turn your feet out to the corners of your mat. So if you're still at the front of your mat, your corners of your feet will be turning out. Bring the palms to the heart space, and then slowly, we may hear a snap, crackle, pop. Start to bend the knees, so they're kind of tracking over the second and third toes. Start to come to, this might be your medium squat. You can choose to stay here for a couple of breaths, pressing the palms into the heart space. Maybe you lower the squat a little bit more. If you have a block, this is a great time to place the block underneath your seat. If you're still hanging out in your medium squat, feel free to come down to a seat at any time, or try a lower squat with a block or maybe a stack of books underneath if that's nice and sturdy. If you're in this lower squat and it's comfortable, press the outer forearms into the inner thighs, release the shoulders from the ears. And then as you are ready, remove any prop that you might have, and then just slowly come to seat. Sit in the middle of your mat, reaching the legs forward. And if you do have a towel or a blanket, I like to set my hips up on the blanket just a little bit. Bring the toes toward the body. Bring the arms up towards the sky. Fingertips reaching, shoulders away from the ears. If you notice that you're starting to come back in space or kind of round, really press through your seat. Widen through the collarbones. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, circle the arms down. Bring the palms underneath the belly. So dip the fingertips just kind of under the belly. You're going to create some space here before we fold forward. On an inhale, lengthen through the spine. Lift the belly up with your fingertips. Exhale, you've got a shelf of your thigh for your belly as you start to spill forward from the pelvis. Palms can stay on the thighs. Maybe they walk to the shins. Maybe they come to the mat outside and kind of spider walk. Wherever you do, really try and lengthen through the heart space and then grab what you can. Not gripping, but just finding a closed chain from your palms to either your body or your mat. Heart shines forward. Notice what's happening with the lower back. Micro bend in the knee. Maybe, only maybe if it feels good for you tonight, on your next exhale, you start to round into it. Breathing in. Breathing out. One more complete cycle of breath here. As you inhale, slowly lift up. Wiggle the hips forward. Remove any props that you might have. And now, with the knees bent, bring both arms around your shins and just give yourself a nice squeeze. Curl yourself into a little ball as you're seated. And then reach the arms long in front of you. Come back to the middle of your mat if you've wandered like I have. Look to see if there's anything behind you. I don't want to probably knock over my water. I'm going to scoot forward a little bit. Your choice. If you'd like to build a little bit of heat, so feet are hip width distance, you could slowly start to come back, maybe one vertebra at a time, trying to keep the spine long. Or as I say in classes, if you've had practice with me before, or you could just bend the elbows and then come down and rest comfortably. The spine is going to come to the earth. And then draw the knees in toward the chest. Curl yourself into a little ball again, briefly. Forehead toward the knees. Keeping the knees pulled in, release the shoulders and the back of the head. Bring the arms out at shoulder height to the floor. So it could be a T or cactus arms. Tap the toes down. Shift the hips a little bit to the right. And exhale, let the knees fall to the left. If your right shoulder's not comfortably coming down, you can bend the right elbow, bring the right palm to the right hip. That helps create some space. And then you can turn your chin whichever way feels best for your neck tonight. Starting to slow the thoughts, slow the breath even more. And take a few breaths here. And as you are ready, inhale, use the core, roll back up, tap the toes down, shift the hips a little bit to your left. Exhale, let the knees fall to the right. Making any adjustments that might have felt good on the other side, trying them out on this side. Letting the neck be soft. As you are ready, there's no rush. If you want to hang out on that side a little bit longer, you can inhale, come back up. Exhale, let the knees fall open like a butterfly. Soles of the feet are going to come together if that's comfortable. Let the shoulders come away from the ears. Let the palms be wherever is most comfortable. I'm going to come back to a little bit of pranayama, a little bit of guided breath, guiding the energy, the life force that is our breath in the direction of an extended exhale. And then anytime as the knees are open wide here, if you want to bring the knees back up and let the knees fall in toward each other with the feet wider, it's totally up to you. Breathe naturally for a couple of rounds. Let the eyes close if they haven't already. And I'll lead us through a couple of rounds of an extended exhale. But again, breathe at a pace that works for you. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue this extended exhale for a few more rounds at your breath pace. Continue to stay in this pose if it feels good for your body, knowing that you can extend the legs at any time. Keeping the eyes closed. I'm just coming up to a seat to guide you in a moment into our resting pose. If the thoughts try and creep back in, acknowledge them and let them go. Take another round or two, elongating your exhale. And on cue, you might have heard my dog Keegan has one of those great puppy sighs. So yeah, imagine yourself feeling content. And that deep exhale that especially if you have dogs or have been around enough, that deep sigh that they give. Maybe make your last extended exhale just a beautiful, deep, open mouth, extended exhale. And as you are ready, keep the eyes closed, extend the legs out long, extend the arms out long along the side body. Probably a lot of us been cooped up indoors, not really being able to take up the personal space we might like. You're feeling a little cramped, so take up that space. If there's any props in the way, maybe you want to make this a nice, relaxing Shavasana with props since you're at home. Maybe you place a blanket or a pillow under your head, or a rolled up towel or blanket underneath your knees. Take a moment, let the feet splay out. I like to have my palms face up along the side body. And then start to let everything go, including the thoughts of the breath. Shavasana can be a difficult practice to give yourselves. It's hard to give ourselves the time of stillness. So I encourage you to try and let the thoughts go. Let the practice integrate all the movement and work that you've cultivated this last hour. Let yourself rest. Let yourself be still. Let yourself be balanced. You're welcome to stay in Shavasana longer if you would like. Only as you are ready, start to make Subtle movements of the breath and the body, coming back to earth, coming back to this moment. I encourage you to keep your eyes closed, as when you are ready, maybe you start to bend the knees, to roll to one side, rest at the side of your head, on your lower arm. And again, only as you are ready, press into your outer palm to come up to a seat facing the front of your mat. I encourage you to keep the eyes closed, maybe using the edges of your mat as a guide. And as you are ready, bring the palms to the heart space. Just as we began, I'll lead us through a closing optional Om. You can always listen to the vibration. Take a deep breath in, sigh it out. Inhale for Om. Loka, Samasta, Sukhino, Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. May the thoughts, words, and actions of our own lives contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom for all. Namaste. I thank you so much for joining me on my first ever online practice. I appreciate your patience and your grace with what is soon to be, what you've already experienced, a couple of video edits. My computer had timed out on me, so hopefully maybe by the time you see this, I can edit that part out of me having to say, oops, there was some splicing. But we're all in this together, and my goal is to continue to have yoga classes for you online every Wednesday at 6:30. In addition to all of the amazing options, I'm so grateful for the team that are our Bhav teachers who, amidst all of the other chaos with our work and family disruptions, that are putting yoga videos together for you. So please check out our Facebook page, check out our Instagram or our webpage as we update that to have these offerings available for you. And as always, our classes are free or donation based, particularly if this is a economic, stressful time for you. Please do not feel obligated to donate. And if it's not an economic, stressful time, there's never an obligation to donate. But I will share in the various platforms where I'm posting these videos for Bhav Brigade that we are going to be, at least for my Wednesday series, I'm going to be splitting the proceeds between the food bank of Southeastern Hampton Roads. And for the first time ever, I know we generally support only nonprofits, but our local businesses are struggling right now. So I am planning on splitting the proceeds of the donations for all of my Wednesday classes across the food bank and local restaurants and cafes. And I'll either buy gift cards, I'll figure it out, and I want to make sure that they're benefiting from that. So I thank you so much. You can reach us on our various socials if you have questions. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Good night.